Hello, folks. Thanks for joining us on another episode of We Love Lewisville Clemmons. My name is Tony Green. I'm the broker owner of Green Haven Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell property in the area, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're here to help. Really excited to share with you today our first episode of Philanthropy Friday. There's so many great nonprofit organizations in our area, but to me, so many times they get overlooked and a lot of people don't know about them. So we're going to be trying to shed a little bit of light on those nonprofit organizations. And just to quote Winston Churchill, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. So really happy to be with the founder of Hydrating Humanity, Matt Peterson, and the program director, Josh Young. So, fellas, thanks for being with us today.
Good being here with you.
Great to be here.
Yeah, good deal. Well, Matt, being the founder of Hydrating Humanity, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started the organization?
Sure. So there's a lot of story with that, but I was inspired by a friend is how it really began. We were having dinner one night. He had grown up in Nepal and had been in the States several years, but he said to me, Matt, I got to tell you what I'm doing. He said, I'm buying slaves. And I said, what are you talking about? This was probably 2002 or so. And he'd grown up in Nepal and knew of an entire group of people that were enslaved still there. And he couldn't get them out of his heart, so he started looking for a way to help. And had this idea of buying coffee from Nepal in its green form, bringing it to the United States, finding a roaster to roast it for free, start a company, sell the roasted coffee, and use the profits to go back to Nepal and buy people out of slavery. So he started doing it. And one by one, some for as little as $8 a person, he would set them free. They'd give them their freedom after generations of slavery. They would give them land, rice, so they could start a new life. And it was incredibly successful. And in the end, with his efforts and then the government coming in and shutting it down, 150,000 slaves were set free. I'd known some about the waterborne disease crisis in the world, that at that point it was taking the lives of 3 million people a year, which is basically the size of the city of Chicago, completely disappearing off the planet from waterborne disease, dirty water. Every single year. So it took a while, but I asked God, I said, give me an idea. And so this idea came to me through a water bottle of selling bottled water and using those profits to help people who don't have access to clean water in developing nations. And so that's how it began for me. It was a lot of process of trying to figure out what to do, how to do it. I had no experience. I don't have a background in water. I don't have a business degree to start a water bottling company. So I was starting at zero, it felt. But I just kind of started forging a plan, and other people like Josh have come around to help. And now we're 14 years down the road since we first hit water in East Africa. And we've done almost 700 wells now. So yeah, you just get one step at a time, and our first 4 holes in the ground were dry. So you have to take a swing and miss and just keep swinging.
Yes.
So yeah.
That's awesome, Matt. So just your friend just inspired you just to do something larger than yourself.
Yeah,
and
it got me thinking differently.
Yeah. And now you've been doing it almost 14 years. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, so tell us a little bit about what you guys actually do. I mean, I know Matt talked a little bit, but give us maybe a summary of what Hydrating Humanity is and some of the programs that you're doing.
Sure. As Matt mentioned, we've done about 700 wells, clean water projects. And from the beginning, that's kind of been the spearhead to reach. And if I could provide a little context, we're working in an area of East Africa, Kenya and Tanzania. We're very close to the Tanzanian border, our main base on the Kenyan side. But we're working in a very rural region where the people we're helping have never had access to clean water in their history. So many times we're in remote villages doing some of the spring protection, which is a type of water project, which we can talk about later. But again, the spearhead being clean water. We've learned along the way how important hygiene education is, combined with clean water. In fact, a statistic that came out by the World Health Organization is clean water by itself, providing clean water, is only 15% effective in treating, preventing waterborne disease. And hygiene education by itself is about the same. When you combine those two, it's exponential. It shoots up to about 70% impact, effectiveness in preventing its huge jump. So we decided early on that we were always going to do both. So clean water projects, helping provide access to those by drilling wells, digging wells, protecting springs, and then the hygiene education component. And we build relationships. Really, it is about relationships. We've built some amazing relationships with the communities and villages that we've been serving. We've got a great indigenous staff over there that are helping the communities that they grew up in.
So you actually have full-time employees there in Africa?
We do. We've got a staff of over 20 now,
Okay.
of full-time staff members there. Again, other than our international director, Pat Selvey, and his wife, Grace, who are from the States that live there now, the greater percentage is indigenous staff members that grew up in this area and know firsthand. In fact, we've got so many stories, about our staff members that have dealt with friends, families' loss from waterborne disease. So the fact that they get to help these communities is incredible.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our spearhead, our thrust, if you will, of our organization.
Awesome. Well, Matt, you've been doing this for several years, and I'm sure you've got plenty of stories that you could tell, but just share with us a few that have been memorable and, kind of impacted you.
Sure. So lots of different stories. One of them that we talked about earlier was with these two clans in the same tribe with a hill in between them that hated each other. And for decades, they would go up on this hill and fight and war and kill each other, and the police would come in and take the bodies and try and deal with it. Well, one of our employees lives not far from there and said, what if we gave clean water on that hill where they kill each other? And so what it means when we provide water, we do the lion's share of the work, but we also get the community to participate. Right. And so they're providing what they can as sand and small gravel and things like that. And so people from both of these clans had to participate to get this clean water. And so they had to work together. And throughout that process, and by the time we provided the water and the source was done, they had forgiven one another, had become friends, and the whole environment was different and changed. And I've got a photo of us standing on a rock with all these tribal leaders from the different clans, and it just so that was like a ripple effect from starting with the water, as Josh said, and then another effect happened, in that village. Right. One of our first schools that we provided water for was a girls' school, a boarding school for girls. Mm-hmm. And their water that they had been drinking, I went there myself, and it was nasty. You wouldn't let your animals drink from it. It had stuff growing on top. It was just horrible. And they had cases of typhoid for these girls every single week. The headmaster was spending a lot of time every week taking girls to the medical clinic, and they were just sick. After we went there and gave them a clean water well, those cases went away. I think they had one throughout a year after that, and it was probably when they were home. Sure. And so it just completely changed all of these girls' lives. And then, another village, last story, one more village where the people we tested their water, and it had hundreds of thousands of microscopic worms. So their bellies were full of worms. So the symptoms from that were very similar to HIV or having AIDS, right, which is prevalent in the area. So the village really thought they all had AIDS and they were dying. We wanted to go give them water. They actually told us, no, don't even come. We're all going to die anyway. We've never had that experience before. And they were not able to participate with us in digging the well because they were so sick. Mm-hmm. But our guys finished it. We gave them the water, and over several months' time, their symptoms started vanishing and going away with the clean water, and none of them had AIDS. None of them had HIV. They were all fine. It was the water they were drinking. So it is a life changer. And, for you and I, we grew up, we've always had clean water, and we take it for granted. And a lot of the world, they just don't have it. It's underneath their feet, but they don't know how to get to it. And so that's what we do, is we access what they can't get to, and we should all have that, right? Yeah.
That's awesome, Matt. Well, Josh, tell us maybe some of the programs. I know you mentioned the different types of wells. Tell us about some of the programs that you're doing and where you actually set these wells up.
Sure. Some of the programs in terms of involvement. So we've got some exciting things. As you can see, we're all wearing these H branded hats. We're very excited to launch our new branding, new logo. And along the way, we've had friends and partners that have said, well, if you ever come out with some gear, some T-shirts, we'd love to, tell your story and represent it.
Brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Rep our brand. So we've done a few T-shirts here and there, and they've been great. But with the new branding, the new icon, we took a kind of a leap and launched our store.
Okay.
So it's a great way for people to enjoy some gear, represent our brand, tell our story while they're wearing it.
Right.
And also the proceeds get to make an incredible impact.
Yeah.
So our store is a great way for people to participate that love to do that kind of shopping. And you can find us on hydratinghumanity.org, and there's, of course, easy to find the store there. Other programs, we have an amazing community of people all over the world. It's like this virtual community that have decided to come together in what we're calling our One Tribe campaign.
Okay.
So One Tribe, hopefully, is self-explanatory.
Sure, yeah.
We believe no matter where you were born, we are brothers and sisters, and we're one tribe of people. And, the people, our brothers and sisters in East Africa, they didn't get to choose where they were born or the fact that they were born in a village without clean water. And so this community, the One Tribers, have come together, and they've sponsored over 50 projects together.
That's awesome.
Another neat thing about this program is 100% of every monthly gift go towards sponsoring clean water projects, the hygiene education, and then the ongoing maintenance.
Okay.
So it's an amazing program. People can get in there for as little as $5, $10. We have other people that have joined for several $100s. I mean, it's up to the person there. It's a monthly partnership, and it's just pooled resources. And when enough resources are pooled, another well gets sponsored.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll mention here is, in terms of partnering and partnerships, is the ability to sponsor an actual source, a water project.
Okay.
So we do 3 types of wells. One is called a spring well. It's where the water naturally comes to the earth's surface. I'm sure many people have seen a picture of someone getting water from what looks like a mud hole. It's actually being fed underground. They get water there year-round because it's being fed underground by a spring. But we have a way that we can protect that, find the eye of the spring, clean it up, create a reservoir box, make sure it doesn't get stagnant and diseased, and we call that our spring well.
Okay.
We also do hand dug projects, and that's where we can reach the water table within 50, 60 feet. We use small tools, electric tools, to do that. And, of course, when you can reach the water table within that distance, you can get there without having heavy machinery. The third type of project is actually a huge drill rig that we were able to secure a few years ago, and we can get down to about 600 feet with that drill rig.
Wow.
So it can reach depths, yeah. And so people, families, businesses, churches, individuals have come alongside of us and sponsored one of these projects. To sponsor a spring well is $3,500.
Okay.
To sponsor a hand dug well is $6,000, and when we have to use the drill rig, it's $10,000.
Okay.
And a lot of times, the hand dug and the drilled wells are at schools,
Okay.
and Matt will probably share a little bit about that. But we've seen some families do one in honor of their parents. We've seen some people do one in honor of someone that has died, unfortunately, of cancer. It's been an amazing impact for us.
Yeah.
We send GPS coordinates, pictures, a commemorative book.
That's
It's
very
just a
cool.
really neat
Yeah.
experience. It leaves a legacy for some families. And so that's another way that people, and any of these that I've mentioned, you can find very easily on our website. Again, hydratinghumanity.org.
Okay.
There's other ways but I'll just mention those.
Okay, good deal. Well, Matt, I know you've been doing this for a while, so tell us about your vision or, maybe a plan going forward for Hydrating Humanity.
Yeah, well, the area that we've been working in for the last 14 years is still has a great need, and that's still a lot of people don't have clean water.
Mm-hmm.
And we've realized over time that the government has put schools in place to meet the needs of the population throughout the whole region, Kenya and Tanzania, really. And so we thought, what if each of these schools had water?
Yeah.
Then you would meet all of the need for all of the population.
Mm-hmm.
And none of the schools had water. Yeah. So we've been working on that for a while. So our hope is over the next 3 to 5 years that the remaining 150 schools in this region will have clean water. A lot of times these schools have about 1,000 kids in it. And to get water there, we have to use our drill rig most of the time. And so that's going down deep. That's a $10,000 source. But if we provide water for all these 150 schools, that's $1.5 million for 150,000 kids.
Man.
And the teachers. So that's thousands of teachers. And then their families. A lot of times kids come to school, instead of like our kids with book bags, they may bring an empty water bucket or bottle and fill that up at school if it's clean and take it home to their family. So it's going to touch a lot of people. So our hope, 1.5 million is a lot of money. At the same time, it's not a lot of money for 150,000 kids to get water. So we want to knock that out. We've got the rig, we've got the manpower. We just want to do that over the next couple of years.
So how long does it take to build a well?
It all depends. With our drill rig, if we're in what's called the granite zone there, so there's a lot of rock we go through. And sometimes that drilling process may take a couple of weeks to get down as deep as it needs to hit the water. And then you have to, so around 2 weeks, sometimes it's longer, sometimes it might be 3, sometimes it's 1 week. So it all depends on the depth.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's maybe some of you out there watching who are thinking, how can I get involved? And, maybe you see where you could impact over 150,000 people.
Yeah.
And you've got 1.5 million to give to do this. So they're available.
Yes.
Well, Matt, this is awesome, what you guys are doing with Hydrating Humanity. And obviously you're a leader in the community. So for aspiring leaders, maybe someone who's never really stepped out, is there any advice that you could, give a young person who would like to be a leader in the community?
Well, I think a big part of it is that the recognizing that there's a huge need in our community and outside of our community around the world.
Right.
And secondly is that we can make a difference. Yes. Every person can make a huge difference. And so I think then the next part is to have enough confidence, faith, courage to just take a step towards something. Yeah. And to take swings and miss and make mistakes and be okay and just to keep going. Yeah. If it's to benefit someone else, it's going to work over time. Something's going to happen and other lives are going to get changed and helped. So just get out there and try. Yeah. That's one of the biggest things. And a lot of times it costs us personally from doing maybe what we would like to do or want to do or just have fun. But man, we just get this one life to live and we can live it in a way that helps other people. It's going to leave a legacy in several different ways. So try, swing, keep swinging.
Yeah. In this day and time that we're living in where everybody's so focused on themselves, let me take a selfie.
Right.
And, if we can just focus on others, instead of ourselves all the time, it just makes life so much better.
And it's a blast, honestly. If you come over to Africa with us, Tony, and you see these wells and you see these kids come on, it changes your life. You see it in your heart, you think, these could be my kids. I could have been born here, and it is so satisfying when you see lives touch and change.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I always like to end on something, where we're talking about our local community. So you guys have not grown up here, but Josh, how long have you been in the area?
Just over 4 years now.
4 years.
In the Carolinas, over 10 though.
Okay, and Matt, how about you?
In the Carolinas, almost 25 years, and in the area, 14 or so.
Okay. Well, Josh, what are some of the things that you enjoy about living in our area?
Well, my wife and I, we've got 5 kids. And so We like to be outside. We love the parks in the community. We really love the school district. There's so much to love about this community, honestly. The people, we just have really enjoyed our time here. So again, Tanglewood, Bermuda Run, just we're down south a little bit. So just, the community, the school district, my wife got involved in the school district last year, and of course we cover most of the schools with our 5. We're in 3 different spots. So getting to know the teachers and the community leaders has just been great. So
awesome. Matt, how about you?
A lot of things to like. I moved from Charlotte previously, and I love that there's no traffic. That is one of my favorite things. I also love, as you said, with Tanglewood, we use that a lot. I love the river going through. I like to fish, like to get on that. And the people are tremendous here. Just friendly, and just our best friends that we've had have been in this area.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I know you like to golf, so
I do. Yeah, we like to hit Collin Creek out here, and also Pudding Ridge because it's closer to our homes and not very expensive and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And wide fairways.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, folks, thanks for watching another episode of We Love Lewisville Clemmons. See you soon.